When the full-scale invasion began in February 2022, many analysts around the world predicted a swift and decisive victory for Russia. On paper, the Russian military appeared overwhelmingly superior, with a larger army, more tanks, and a powerful air force. The initial expectation was that Kiev could fall within days, and the entire country would be brought under Moscow's control in a matter of weeks. This assessment was based on numbers and equipment, a cold calculation that seemed to leave little room for an alternative outcome. The world watched, holding its breath, anticipating a tragic but seemingly inevitable conclusion to a fight between a global superpower and its much smaller neighbor. However, that quick victory never materialized. Instead of collapsing, Ukraine mounted a defense that has astonished the world. Today, on June 30th, 2025, the war rages on, but Ukraine remains sovereign and unbowed. The story is not one of a rapid defeat, but of incredible resilience, courage, and strategic thinking. The blue and yellow flag continues to fly over Kyiv, and Ukrainian forces continue to defy the odds on a daily basis. This is a testament to the unyielding spirit of the Ukrainian people, who refuse to accept the future that had been written for them by outside observers and by the aggressor itself. What explains this remarkable defiance? Why hasn't Ukraine lost? The answer is not a single, simple reason, but a combination of powerful factors. It involves the bravery of its soldiers, the ingenuity of its engineers, the steadfast support of its international partners, and the significant internal problems plaguing the Russian war machine. Ukraine has not just survived, it has adapted, innovated, and fought back with a determination that has reshaped modern warfare. It has proven that the will of a people to defend their homeland can be a force more powerful than sheer military might alone, turning a predicted sprint into a grueling marathon. This essay will explore the key pillars of Ukraine's enduring resistance. We will look at how its military has adapted its tactics on the battlefield to counter a larger foe. We will examine the country's incredible push to build its own advanced weapons, especially its formidable drone fleet. We will also discuss the crucial role of Western aid, particularly in defending the skies, and how Russia's own mounting casualties and economic strains are limiting its ability to achieve its goals. Together, these elements paint a clear picture of why, more than 3 years into this brutal conflict, Ukraine has not been defeated. At the core of Ukraine's resilience is the sheer tenacity and cleverness of its armed forces. Ukrainian soldiers have proven to be not just brave, but also highly adaptable. Instead of trying to match Russia's massive conventional assaults head-on, they have adopted a strategy of active defense. This means they fight from a network of smaller, heavily fortified positions that are difficult for Russian troops to overrun. When Russian forces do manage to capture a small piece of ground, they often find themselves immediately facing a determined Ukrainian counterattack. This approach wears down the attacking force, inflicting heavy losses for minimal territorial gains, as seen in the fierce battles around Chasiv Yar and in the Sumy region. This tactical flexibility has been crucial. Early in the war, Ukraine famously used small, mobile anti-tank teams to ambush and destroy long Russian armored columns. As the conflict has evolved into a war of attrition, their methods have changed, but the principle remains the same. Fight smarter, not just harder. They have become experts at using the terrain to their advantage, digging in to create formidable defensive lines that can absorb the shock of massive artillery bombardments. This strategy has successfully slowed Russia's summer 2025 offensive, turning what was meant to be a major breakthrough into a slow, grinding advance that gains only a few dozen square miles a week. The motivation of Ukrainian troops is another key factor that cannot be overstated. They are fighting to defend their own homes, their families, and their country's right to exist. This provides a powerful moral and psychological advantage over an invading army. Reports from the front lines consistently highlight the high morale and determination of Ukrainian units, even in the face of overwhelming odds and severe hardship. This fighting spirit has enabled them to hold ground against numerically superior forces, and even launch successful counteroffensives, such as their recent advances in northern Sumy Oblast and their continued presence in Russia's own Kursk and Belgorod regions. Ultimately, Ukraine has prevented a military collapse by refusing to play by Russia's rules. They have avoided large-scale battles where Russia's size would be a decisive advantage, instead choosing to bleed the Russian army through thousands of smaller engagements. They use precision strikes to target command posts and supply lines, disrupting Russian operations before they can even begin. This combination of strategic defense, tactical innovation, and an unbreakable will to fight has allowed Ukraine's military to withstand the immense pressure of the Russian war machine, proving that a smaller force can hold its own through intelligence and courage. One of the most remarkable stories of this war has been Ukraine's transformation into a hub of military innovation. Faced with an enemy with a vast arsenal, Ukraine knew it could not rely solely on donated equipment. It needed to develop its own solutions, and it did so with incredible speed and creativity, particularly in the realm of unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones. Ukraine has embarked on an ambitious program to domestically produce millions of battlefield drones in 2025. These are not just for reconnaissance, they are used as precision weapons, capable of destroying tanks, artillery, and groups of soldiers from miles away. This drone warfare has become a great equalizer. While Russia has more tanks and artillery, Ukraine's fleet of first-person view drones gives its soldiers the ability to strike with pinpoint accuracy, often at a fraction of the cost of traditional munitions. Beyond the battlefield, Ukraine has also developed a new generation of long-range drones. These sophisticated aircraft are capable of flying hundreds of miles into Russian territory to strike strategic targets. This capability represents a fundamental shift in the war, allowing Ukraine to take the fight directly to the aggressor in a way that was previously impossible. The impact of these long-range strikes has been significant. Ukrainian drones have successfully hit Russian airbases, destroying valuable strategic bombers, and have systematically targeted Russia's energy infrastructure. These attacks have been devastatingly effective, with reports indicating that facilities responsible for about 1/6 of Russia's total fuel production have been damaged or forced to shut down. This not only disrupts the Russian military's fuel supply, but also strikes at the heart of its economy. It sends a clear message that no part of Russia is completely safe from retaliation as long as the war continues on Ukrainian soil. This domestic arms industry goes beyond just drones. Ukraine is also working to produce its own armored vehicles, artillery shells, and other essential military hardware. This effort reduces its dependence on the sometimes unpredictable flow of Western aid and allows it to tailor weapons to the specific needs of its soldiers on the front line. By becoming a producer, not just a consumer of military technology, Ukraine is securing its long-term ability to defend itself. This homegrown revolution in weapons manufacturing is a critical pillar of its resilience, demonstrating a level of ingenuity and self-sufficiency that few thought possible. Ukraine's fight for survival has not been a solitary one. It has been sustained by a powerful coalition of international partners. The continuous flow of military and financial support from the West has been absolutely essential. This aid has provided Ukrainian forces with advanced weaponry, from tanks and artillery to the critical ammunition needed to keep fighting. While the support has sometimes wavered, the commitment has ultimately held firm, recognizing that Ukraine's defense is linked to broader global security. This international backing has allowed Ukraine to counter Russia's quantitative advantage with qualitative superiority in key areas, leveling the playing field in crucial ways. Perhaps the most vital form of Western support has been in air defense. Russia has repeatedly tried to break Ukraine's will by launching massive missile and drone strikes against its cities and critical infrastructure. Advanced systems like the Patriot, supplied by the United States and other allies, have been instrumental in protecting Ukrainian skies. Even when overwhelmed by huge barrages, such as the combined strike of over 500 projectiles on June 28 and 29, 2025, Ukraine's air defenses and electronic warfare systems still managed to intercept or disable a majority of the incoming threats. This protection saves civilian lives and ensures the country can continue to function. While Ukraine has been bolstered by its allies, Russia has been grappling with severe internal problems. The war has come at a staggering cost. Estimates suggest Russia has suffered over 790,000 casualties, killed or wounded, and lost an enormous amount of military hardware, including nearly 13,000 tanks and armored vehicles. These are devastating losses that are difficult to replace. The human toll is immense, and it puts a strain on the Russian military's ability to conduct effective large-scale offensive operations, forcing it into a costly war of attrition that it is also struggling to sustain. Economically, the war is bleeding Russia dry. The country is now spending over 6% of its GDP on the military, which accounts for an astonishing 40% of all public spending. This massive expenditure is fueling inflation, draining financial reserves, and forcing cuts in other essential areas. Sanctions and labor shortages further hamper its ability to scale up its own war production. While Ukraine's economy has also been devastated, Russia's long-term economic trajectory is unsustainable. The war is still far from over, but Ukraine remains unbroken because its national spirit, military ingenuity, and global support have created a resilience that Russia has failed to crush.